Hello, everyone, and welcome to a show on the internet. I am not your host, but I am here today. Joined with me is someone else whom I don't know. Good afternoon, sir, if it really is afternoon.
Hi!
Wasn't ready for that. That's a lot of energy for the afternoon. So now that we've both had our lunch and
I just had a T-bomb.
we have set ourselves up for the day, how would you describe your afternoon?
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
The voice almost got me the first time. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready at all.
All right, what are we really doing here?
Well, hello, everybody.
This is the Evil Safety Dudes, and we are a show about all things OSHA, how not to die at work.
Please don't die at work.
I am joined by Mr. AJ Hanscom. He is an authorized OSHA outreach instructor.
And I am also joined with Aaron Iacino in the IBC podcast fort. It's an awesome place. I'd say the fort's pretty magical. Aaron Iacino is an OSHA authorized outreach instructor as well. And we are talking OSHA today.
Yeah, what's our topic for today's podcast?
Focus is because they finally got their stuff together. Their fiscal year ends in like November, but it took them all the way until now to publish their OSHA's top 10 most cited violations for fiscal year 2020.
So the government's slow?
I, as an OSHA authorized outreach instructor,
No, we can't say anything bad about OSHA.
I don't have anything bad to say about OSHA at all. So OSHA is not fast nor slow.
It's not surprising.
They do their work as it is needed to be done.
So the top 10 violations of 2020, that's what we're talking about?
That's what we're doing today.
All right, cool, man. Top 10. We're like, a legit host now, like a Tonight Show host.
Are you sure we're just not on a show with some random guy going, hi,
I just had a T-bomb. For those of you who do not know what a T-bomb is, I don't know
either.
either.
Know what a T-bomb was.
All right, but I think it has lots of caffeine.
Yeah, maybe that's why you're so amped up today.
It's actually... it's not doing anything for me.
No? So speaking of being amped up today...
No, it's no pre-workout. That's for sure.
Yeah, pre-workout. That was, oof. Still not on the pre-workout.
So the other day, we got done an open mat.
Yeah.
I grappled a whole bunch, getting ready for this tournament. I was tired. And then I was going to go do legs afterwards.
Oof.
Quads, hammies.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to do the leg press machine, and then I was going to do the abductor and the adductor one.
Oh,
where you
yeah.
pull in,
Ouch.
5 machines.
In and out.
Hit it hard, 10 sets on each one. Go nuts. But I was really dead from open mat, so I wanted a little calories. So I go to the front desk, and they had a Met-Rex drink, and I used to always eat those Met-Rex bars. So I thought it was a protein shake.
Okay. You were like, all right, pick up some calories.
Yeah, man, and protein. So
Yeah.
I got one, and I took a swig, and it's clear like water. And I'm like, what is this? And I look at it, it's a pre-workout.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, well, I'm still going to work out.
Oh, well.
So I chugged that thing. Dude,
no.
that got me going. Yeah, little thumper action going.
Yeah, you can get some palpitations. It's just nothing but vitamin B, tons of caffeine, niacin,
Yeah, they say all this other fancy stuff, too, that's going to turn you into Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it didn't work.
I'm going to lift everything with these machines.
So
machines are too tiny.
What's new with you?
Oh, I've just spring's here. We talked about that last time. We've been outside doing some yard work. I'm just mostly
update us on the pergola.
The pergola's got to wait. My pergola guy, he unfortunately had a buddy who his house burned down.
Nuh-uh.
Yep. So my pergola guy has been rebuilding a house.
That sucks.
We were gonna put that thing together here this month. The plan was to put it together in April, and not happening.
So if anybody's like, "Hey, AJ, I have trouble with pergola," you could be like, I got a guy. He's a pergola guy.
Yeah, he is a pergola guy. However, he's not an available guy.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Right.
So if you have a pergola guy,
no,
you email me.
No, pergola guys are rare these days.
All 5 of you listeners, if you have a pergola guy, you let me know. Pergola guy, they're rare these days.
They are. I mean, it's a dying breed, People can't sew anymore, and people can't build pergolas anymore.
They can't build that pergola.
Honestly, don't even know what one is.
I used to always say pergola. I thought I like that. I would rather call it my pergola.
Okay.
But I don't know if pergola's right or if pergola's right. I've only ever seen it in writing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea.
I just say it the way you say it, so I might be saying it wrong too. But
how about you, Aaron? What have you been up to? Well, I mean, unless that was your
besides
update.
it kind of is. I've been.
I got really.
I don't train jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
But I signed up to compete in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Ooh, I mean,
I teach Krav Maga and I teach Muay Thai, kickboxing. I've done MMA for a long time, so I've learned some jiu-jitsu.
You're like, all right.
But I decided to do it.
You've eaten a bite of that sandwich, but you're not.
So
like,
I'm going to compete
that guy.
coming up soon here in town. So if you want to watch me get beat up,
wow,
I'll
I'm
tell
gonna
you
watch
when
you
and
tear some
where.
people apart. That's
I'm
what
going
I'm
to try
for.
to. I'm going to try to.
But you
But,
submit the daylights out
it's
of
going to
some
be a
fools.
Muay Thai guy ground fighting. That's what it's going to look
You
like.
got this.
Because I can't use any of my Krav. I can't hit him in the groin and collapse his throat, pop an eyeball out.
You can.
No,
You're
you
just
get
not gonna win
disqualified.
you're not going to win the
No,
tournament.
no, you got to play by the rules. So it's going to be a fun experience. So that's what I've been
I
up
like
to.
it.
But let's talk about this top 10 because
I
you
say
know,
we just dive in.
as a safety guy, I'm kind of into it. I'm kind of like, oh no, I wonder if there's anything new, exciting, and if they're starting to shift their focus and bust people for other things, and how's it changed from last year, and what do I got to prepare my clients for, and what's OSHA looking like with this new administration, and that won't tell us so much because that's last year's stuff. But I am kind of excited about them. So let's start off with number 1. I apologize if this sounds terrible, but I'm going to do a drum roll.
And the standard is fall protection. They actually
Is
noted
it the least amount cited or the
construction.
most cited?
The number 1 standard cited was fall protection.
So we're going to go backwards how normal media does because they make you wait till the end of the program to get to the number 1. We're going to opposite you today.
For sure.
Yeah, we're just going to give you the
Mostly
coolest
because
ones
I
first.
want to read it in chronological order.
Yeah.
If we try to read this backwards, I'm going to get confused.
But, falls is a number 1 killer in the construction industry.
So they also listed that this has been the number 1 most cited standard for 10 years straight.
Wow, it is the champion of OSHA citations. Now, are we talking general industry or are we talking construction
This is
here?
the construction
So
standard.
this is all 1926 violations.
501.
So construction gets cited more than general.
So total violations for the year was 5,424 violations.
All right, now usually it's about 5 different citations. So what were the 5 that made up that?
So the first one, the top violation of the year, topping out at more than 3,500 violations, was that each employee engaged in residential construction 6 feet or more was not protected.
Okay,
by fall protection.
residential. That's a key word there.
Yep.
So for all you roofers out there and residential builders that say, OSHA don't mess with us.
They've been working on it.
Well, yeah, number 1.
Yeah.
They
they've
worked on you
seriously-
more than they worked on anybody
Yeah,
else.
they have been working on citing those guys.
According to that right there, and let's cite our source here. We got this really cool magazine from the National Safety Council, right?
Yep.
Safety and Health.
Yep.
They do a really good job keeping everybody informed of OSHA stuff, and I'm not paid by them, but I like them as a safety professional, so I'll give them a little plug there. Go National Safety Council.
Oh, heck yeah. Thank you for putting this together for us.
But, they just get it from OSHA, so it's not like they created it, but they created this article that we're reading out of. And so according to this, they're busting residential contractors more than industrial construction workers and industrial manufacturers.
Yep.
So watch out, you residential dudes.
Well, that is a crazy number because then they tell you how many citations each level got. So 3,500 for residential roofers, or residential construction. The number 2 violation only had 800 citations.
Okay, what was that one for?
Number 2 is each employee on a walking working surface with an unprotected side edge that is 6 feet or more above a lower level did not have fall protection.
Okay, so generally in construction, then the number 2 one was people were up over 6 feet, not tied off.
So 800 compared to 3,500.
Well, they said, I remember years ago, I don't know how long it was, maybe 10 years ago, they were saying they're really going to stop turning a blind eye on residential.
Yep.
For fall protection. They're really, and so I guess they actually made good on that.
I mean, yeah, they've been trying.
All right, so
Number 3. Except as otherwise provided in paragraph B of this section, each employee engaged in roofing activities on a low-sloped roof with unprotected side or edges or more shall be protected by fall protection.
Okay, so you're going to be tied off on roofs.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still in the number 1. There's just
still in
5 for
fall
each
protection.
one. Okay.
Number 4 was each employee on a steep roof with unprotected side or edge. And then number 5 just says holes.
Yeah. So if you got, let's see how good we can do off memory. Fall protection, hole standard.
There could be 2 things, in my opinion, that they cited as one.
It's got to be so
3
big, though,
things.
right?
Yeah, it has
to
be-
require cover.
A hole or pass-through has that definition, and I think it's
It's not 2 feet. Is it a half?
I think it's 2 foot wide for fall protection.
Okay.
Not for falling object protection.
Okay. All right. So if a body can fit through it,
Yeah.
and it's over 6 feet,
And it's over 6 feet. So
it's
there's
got to
that.
have a hole cover, and the hole cover itself has 3 rules. Let's just jump right
Yeah.
into Stump AJ.
Oh, I know them all.
Brought to you in part
Got this.
by Camaro.
Chevrolet, please send me a Camaro. You can sponsor me all day.
So, what are the 3 things those says specifications of a hole cover for
Well,
construction?
first off, the cover structural requirement must be able to support twice its maximum intended load.
Which they're making us offend our workers.
Right, you got to guess how much everybody weighs.
Because I got to
and
go,
then-
hey, you, fatty, how much you weigh?
What?
Why are you spacing me out? Well, you're the biggest one. I got to make sure this can hold you. How much you weigh? 250. All right, guys, build it for 500 pounds because of that guy.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be funny.
If
You
your
didn't-
heavy guy is 250, like.
Well,
that-
that's easy
that's
on a
a-
construction site.
No, that's a pretty small.
Oh,
crew.
yeah.
Dude,
So-
see,
so-
for me, it'd be like a real awkward conversation. I'd walk up to that huge dude that weighs like 380. I'd be like, I need to know how much you weigh. Why? Because I have to build a cover that could withstand twice your weight.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that's what you got to do.
yep. So
Okay.
that's one requirement. The
Okay.
second one is that it must be marked with either the word hole or the word cover.
Yeah, you actually got to write on
You
it.
got to, big spray paint or huge, I don't know, paint roll or something. You got to mark it hole or cover. And lastly, it has to be secured. So
Right.
that while
You can't
people are
just
walking, they
slide
can't just
around.
kick it off. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so is that for
That was fall
number
protection.
one?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Number two, the second most cited standard by OSHA in 2020.
Oh, I was going to make you guess. Do you want to try? I bet you could guess. Think about.
Forklifts,
Oh, no.
scaffolding,
No.
lockout tagout.
No. Hascom.
Okay, I was going there.
I
was
like.
gonna
I
get
was
there
trying
eventually.
so hard to send it telepathically because we've been talking about it
There's
so
only
much.
so much that I
didn't mean to set you up like that either. I was
It's
just
all
hoping
good.
you would just like.
You know what's
Snag
fair
it.
for the goose is fair for the gander. You could play Stump Aaron as well.
Well, I mean that makes one of us a gander and a goose, and I think the goose is the lady.
Okay, well, what's fair for the goose is fair for the other goose.
They-
All right. Anyway,
so
what's
we're
number
both lady
two?
gooses?
Oh, is the gander the guy?
I don't know. I'm not
We're
up on my
city slickers,
waterfowl.
man. Come
I
on.
need to go research my fowl.
Yeah.
All right, so number 2 is Hascom, the number one most cited. So they had a total of 3,200
Okay.
citations for Hascom.
General industry or construction?
General industry.
All right. So the number one was construction. Number two most cited standards for all 2020 was general industry, which is everybody else.
Yep.
So we're talking about not just the huge manufacturers,
Right.
but we're talking about the small plumbers or the bank.
Or the fast food places.
Yeah.
Or,
Everybody else.
yeah,
that's
even
a
just like a
business.
department store.
The majority of all businesses. All right. So what's number one on Hascom?
Ooh. Number 1, this is one you and I harp on all the time. Employers shall develop, implement, and maintain a workplace written Hascom program.
Yeah. So you need a policy, everybody, that's updated, adopted.
That's 1,100 citations. So
Yeah.
almost half of all their citations was you got to have a plan.
And we know this from personal experience. Fighting OSHA so much for our clients. OSHA
Oh,
comes
man.
on site and they say, hey, you got till the end of the day to send me your policy, else I'm citing you.
It's super common.
All right. What's the number two for number two?
Number 2 for number 2, employers must provide employees with effective information and training.
Oh, no.
on
You got to
hazardous
train
chemicals.
people on chemicals.
Got to train people.
I was doing some of that yesterday. I was training this company on a herbicide.
Ooh,
It was crazy.
herbicide.
It was a total kill type of product.
So it just everything that it gets on just annihilates.
Guess what the number one ingredient was? It was like 70% of this chemical. Number one ingredient was fuel oil number 2.
Oh dang, really?
Yeah. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess if you pour some diesel on the ground, it's going to not let
guess.
anything live anymore.
Yeah, you're not gonna live in fuel.
But it also made it very flammable.
extremely.
And then there was another type of ethanol product in there too.
So it had an ethanol fuel blend.
So it was like a very flammable product, but you wouldn't think of an herbicide. So
Right.
and people smoke when they're outside.
I just got my gardening.
So they're out
spray.
there smoking a cigarette, spraying the stuff, and then they got a
Boom.
flamethrower.
Yeah, employee just goes up.
It's crazy. All right. Anyway,
Number 3 is easy one, labeling.
labeling on just any container.
It literally says
it's not
work
temporary use.
workplace
it's just,
labeling as provided under
all
this
chemicals
paragraph.
you got on site have
Yep.
to have a label. Now, that whole 2013 GHS update, didn't it beef up the temporary use labels?
So, yeah, anything that technically constitutes as a label finally got a really good definition. Before, you kind of were like in this weird spot where you'd write, super red on it. And you're like, well, I wrote it on there.
Or just
It's
write
got a label.
bleach.
Yeah, it's bleach. I wrote it on there. It's a 10-to-1 bleach. But when we got the GHS update, it came up with 5 things that all had to be on a label. You had to have the product name, identifier, signal word, hazard statement, and precautionary statement. You had to have all 5
But does
of them
that
on
even
the
go
label.
for temporary use? Or do
Any,
they
yeah.
still have that loophole?
No. So there is the weird spot that's still in the standard under the HAZCOM standard for temporary use. That didn't get removed.
Okay.
So you can still use something as long as it is directly in the employee's control and they've only mixed enough for that one task.
Yeah, you use it up that shift
Yeah,
or whatever.
you got to make enough for that one task. And then they even wrote, walking away from it, even for a second, is losing control.
So, I mean, best practice would be to put that GHS compliant label even on temporary use bottles.
One thing a company and I did is we just printed off about 100 tiny ones and laminated them.
Yeah.
And then just put those little key rings through them.
Okay.
And then whenever anybody needed a bottle of something, they could literally hang it right on there.
Okay.
It was a good temporary fix.
Some of those programs that maintain your SDS sheets for you, they have a print function.
Yeah.
Where you could print GHS compliance labels right off there.
And they're awesome. You can resize them. Yeah, they're great.
All right, what else you got? Number 3 for number 2.
That was number 3 was
Oh,
labeling.
okay. Number 4 for number 2.
Number 4, employer must maintain workplace copies of the SDS standard.
Oh, yep. Got to have safety data sheets accessible to your employees.
Yeah.
All right.
Number
next one.
5, chemical manufacturers and importers shall obtain or develop SDS hazardous chemicals.
So it wasn't us, the people, the end users who got busted. Manufacturers got busted.
It sounds like, but it continues on then in the same citation at the very end, say employers shall have a safety data sheet in the workplace for each hazardous chemical. So it's like it kind of reiterates number 4, but also includes manufacturers. It's a weird.
So
That one's
I mean,
odd.
I'm glad if a manufacturer got busted for not making an accurate, because if we can get busted for not having the most updated one,
You need to update your
yeah,
thing. Yeah,
it'd be nice.
Give us what we need.
All right, so number 1 was construction for fall protection. Number 2 is general industry for HAZCOM, hazardous communication, which basically means chemical safety. I always thought that was a terrible name.
HAZCOM.
Hazardous communication. I asked classes
What
just to mess with them. Next, we're going to talk about hazardous communication. Can anybody tell me what we're going to talk about? And it's rare when people are like, chemical safety.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's like
hazard communication.
they say identifying hazards on a site. I'm
Well,
like,
yeah.
you would think that.
That's what it sounds like.
But I said, it makes sense if you think of it like this. The employers need a program to communicate the hazards of the chemicals to the employees.
Yeah,
But I still think it's a bad name.
it's not a great name.
They should call it chemical safety.
I think they should.
And they should call forklifts. All right, anyway, what's number 3? Wait, let me do my drum roll.
All right. Number 3 is a general industry respiratory protection.
Oh, I could see that being in 2020 with COVID.
Yeah.
We worked several respiratory protection violation cases in 2020.
Total violations for the year.
And hold on, let me go telepathic on you. They got busted for not having a program, for not doing medical evaluations, for not doing a fit test, and for not training people on the equipment. Oh, what would be the 5th one? Is there 5?
There is 5. You're pretty much bang on.
They didn't do appropriate PPE selection, respirator selection.
The last one I think is just the one that's kind of weird. So all right, here,
go
I'll
ahead.
give them to you. But your 5 I think are pretty much spot on. Your PPE one I think are going to the last one. So the number 1 most cited was employers shall provide medical evals.
Yeah, you got to evaluate employees,
Got
make
it.
sure they're physically capable of breathing in and out of that filter.
Yep. And then number 2 was a workplace where respirators are necessary to protect health, or whenever they're actually required, the employer shall establish and implement a written program.
Got to have policy.
Okay. Number 3, the employer shall ensure an employee using a tight-fitting respirator is fit tested.
Got to fit test them.
Number 4, where respirator use is not
Oh,
required.
the voluntary use one. You still
Yes.
got to train them on it if you're providing it.
Yep. So that was the only oddball one.
And we've actually worked cases. It makes sense to me because I've worked cases like that.
Well, yeah.
That was 5? That was all 5?
No, the last one was general requirements, which I think would be that's a really good place to point out specific PPE selection and assessment. That's under
It's
general
just like a
requirements.
miscellaneous one,
Yeah.
probably. For
It
'em.
literally actually only says those 2 words, general requirement.
All right.
1910, if you want to Google it, 1910.134D1, general requirements.
Okay.
And then it probably lists the D2, D3.
And then
Those would be the general requirements.
That was the 5th.
That was number 5.
They busted them on one of those general requirements they weren't following.
Right.
All right. Well, that all makes sense to me with COVID.
And keep an eye on your
being top
employees.
3. I wonder, going back to years past, I wonder if respiratory protection was ever in the top 3 before. Or if that's solely because of COVID.
We would have to go back and check.
That's work, though. So we'll ask a listening audience member to do that for us for free.
But it's not really work. I mean,
all right. So that was the 3rd one.
that was number 3.
Okay, drum roll. The 4th top-cited violation of 2020 goes to
All right, it was construction scaffolding.
construction. Oh, by the way, the last one was general industry.
General industry,
Okay.
respiratory protection.
All right.
This one is construction scaffolding.
And that's not surprising. I've seen scaffolding actually make 3 of the 10.
Just different parts
Yes,
of scaffolding.
100%.
I could see that.
I've seen it make 3
Scaffolding
of the 10.
shows up in different spots.
All right, so what are the 5 of scaffolding?
Number 1, each employee on a scaffolding above 10 feet didn't have fall protection.
Yep.
Number 2, when a scaffold platform is more than 2 feet above or below a point of access, they had no point of access.
All right, so they were using that built-in ladder, and they probably had the screw jack base plates up too high over that 24 inches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Number 3, each platform and all working levels on a scaffold shall be fully planked or decked.
Yeah, wish everybody would fully deck out their working level. It's just
That's so easy.
We rarely ever see
OSHA
it.
can walk by and see that one plank laying there and be like, gotcha. Like, so
And
common.
if the builders just had one plank to build, that's legal. But once they turn it over to the users, they need to take that one plank off.
remember to
And they
fix
don't
them
always
up.
do that.
No. Number 4, supported scaffold poles, legs, post frames, and uprights shall bear on base plates and mud sills or other
Always
adequate
seen 'em.
firm foundation.
Just throwing the frame on the ground.
Poles straight into the ground.
No base plate, no mud sill.
And no casters, nothing.
Yeah.
It's just a pole on the ground.
Yep.
Number 5 is a guardrail system installed to meet the requirements of this section shall comply with the following provisions, and then they go into the whole guardrail standard. So insufficient guardrails.
Yeah, which, doesn't surprise me. I've seen when I do see guardrails, which is, it's sad to say, it's rare
It
for
is
me
rare,
to see
honestly.
guardrails.
Like, I don't see them all the time.
But when I do see them, I've seen a lot of bad ones.
I agree.
All right, so which number are we on now?
This is number 5. Number 5 is a construction standard for ladders.
All right, I want to keep notes here. So number 1 was construction.
Yep.
Number 2 was general industry. Number 3 was
Also general industry.
general industry. Number
4 was
4
construction.
construction. So
And now
we're
number
tied.
5 is construction.
Okay, so construction's in the lead for getting
So
busted
far.
more than general.
Yeah.
All right, so what was number 5?
Ladders. Construction ladders. Part 1.
Okay.
Number 1 citation in ladders was when portable ladders are used for access. Oh, it's our favorite one to make people go look up. When they're used for access to an upper landing
Oh,
surface,
yeah, okay.
the ladder side rail shall extend at least 3 foot above the upper landing surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I make people look that one up all the time.
It's a good one for a book exercise because it's kind of easy to find.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like, and I use this I-beam out here all the time. I'll lean a ladder up against it, and I'm like, hey, if I'm going to change a light bulb right underneath this I-beam, is this legal? And right away in class, somebody falls for it, and they always go, no.
Oh, yeah, because you're not transferring off it, but they think,
They're like,
yeah.
it's not 3 foot over.
That happens to me, too.
I'm like, well, what if I take this ladder and I put it up against the wall? And all of a sudden, they're like, well, how am I going to get it 3 foot over the wall?
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, guys, let's look it up. Let's find out the reason why. So that was number 1. Number 2, ladders shall be used only for their designed purpose. Oh,
Can't use them as a bridge.
there are duct tape warriors out there that have made some awesome stuff out of ladders.
Yeah, okay.
Taping a ladder to another ladder. Yeah. Number 3, the top or top step of a ladder shall not be used as a step.
Probably, in my experience, the top violated ladder one.
You just
Everybody steps
always-
on the top step and the cap, and it's
They
illegal.
sit on it. They'll stand on it.
Yep.
Number 4 is portable ladders with structural defects. Oh, yeah. So we can't use
damaged
broken
ladders.
ladders.
So many damaged ladders in use out there.
Yep. And number 5, an employee shall not carry any object or load up a ladder that could cause the employee to lose balance and
Which I see
fall.
that all the time. Going back to them residential roofers,
yeah.
I seen guys with 2 bundles of shingles.
Oh, yeah.
On their
Easy.
shoulder, running up in ladders.
Running. Like,
And
you're
a
not
bundle of
exaggerating.
shingles could be 80 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
They got 160 pounds.
Yeah.
Running up and down a ladder all
On one
day.
side of their body.
Yep.
Running.
That would be something that would get that citation.
Easy. We already know they're watching you guys.
All right, so
Number 6 was a general industry standard. It was lockout tagout.
okay. So we're back to being tied.
Back to tie.
3 for 3.
Yep.
'Kay.
However, this was a really big drop. Oh, no. About 2000 to 2000. Never mind.
Okay.
So the number one violation was energy control procedures.
So they didn't have. I don't know if
procedure.
that's.
The machine shutdown lockout procedure, I would say.
I call that a machine-specific lockout tagout procedure.
Yeah. So they said, it literally just says energy control procedures, 613 violations.
Didn't have a written procedure control the energy of that machine. Okay.
Or maybe they violated their procedure. Who knows?
Okay.
Number 2 was training and communication.
Okay.
Number 3 was periodic annual inspection.
All of these I've seen in real life.
These are super common. Number 4, the employer shall establish a written program.
Okay. Gotta have policy, everybody.
Gotta have policy. Number 5, the established procedure for the application of hazardous control, lockout, tagout, shall cover the following elements and actions and shall be done in the following sequence.
Can you read the first sentence again of that one?
Yeah. The established procedure for the application of energy control, the lockout, tagout procedure.
Okay, so their procedure didn't meet the requirements.
Yeah.
They had one.
They had one.
But it was lame.
Yeah.
It was like, put your locks and tags on it.
Right. Here's the off.
It didn't
Put
cover
the lock on that.
all of the steps
Right.
that OSHA says it has to cover.
And there's
in the
certain wording
procedure.
they require you to throw in there too. So that was number 6.
Okay.
All
And
I can give you a second.
yeah, let me get the drum roll. Number 7, top violated standard of 2020.
Powered industrial trucks. There's
And-
another 1910 one.
Okay, so General Industries taking the lead.
Yeah. Well, which I think for powered industrial trucks isn't fair. Because if you look up powered industrial trucks in the 1926 standard, it just says go to the 1910 standard.
Well, it's a horizontal standard, just like HAZCOM,
Yeah.
and pretty much fall protection and confined spaces.
Yeah.
Okay, but
So I don't know if that one's fair to say, but because some of these could have easily been cited
well,
construction.
the construction regs have their own. And we should verify this, but I think if I picked up a 1926 book, I would have a 1926 pit reg. I don't think it would be 1910 in there.
Yeah. And my brain is telling me to say 1926, if you're going to operate, must be operated under the 1910.178 reg.
Let's try to remember to look that up
Yeah,
on the
we'll
way
have to
out
look.
today.
Because I
But
could be
either way,
wrong.
they're the exact same standards. But what you're trying to say is you think, even though it's a 1910, that may encompass both industries.
Yes. So
Okay,
like if they
yeah.
cited the number 1, that could be on a construction site or,
Yeah,
but I could be wrong.
yeah, we'll find out.
We'll check.
But anyway, number 1 pit violation.
Safe operation. That's gone up.
Okay. Wonder what that means.
Safe operation.
They weren't operating safely?
I guess. They give a specific spot, L1.
Okay.
So we could look.
Yeah, that's work. We can do that later.
Number 2 was no refresher training and evaluation, which how often do you got to do that?
We've fought those.
What's it in the reg?
Well, it's 3 years,
3
but
years.
it could be tomorrow. You could do a class today and have to turn around and do a refresher tomorrow if the guy
yeah.
doesn't show that he retained the knowledge, if he had a near miss, if he did horseplay, if he's operating new environment, new equipment.
New equipment's one that gets them sometimes too.
Yeah.
Number 3 was the employer shall certify that each operator has been trained and evaluated. So that one.
You got to do the training right. But back to that other one, like we have clients that build additions.
Oh yeah.
We have one up north getting ready to add on to their plant.
Mm-hmm.
They have to retrain all their forklift operators because now they're operating in a new environment.
New place.
And they were never trained on those hazards of that new environment in the other class.
So what you're telling me, Aaron, is if I got my forklift operator certification and I work for XYZ company and I leave XYZ company and I go work for ABC company, I gotta get a new certification?
No.
But it's a whole new place.
The answer is yes, but there's a loophole in the OSHA regs.
Ooh.
That it's called avoidance of duplicative training. But I've never been able to use it ever because it just is not going to happen in reality.
Right.
The environment would have to be the same. The forklift would have to be the same. The site hazards would have to be the same for you to not duplicate the training.
So the short answer is no, but
Yes.
the long answer is yes, almost all the time.
Yeah, loophole. There's a lot of loopholes in OSHA. All
Okay.
right.
So that was, what did we do? That was, okay, so we went back to refresher.
What was number 2 again?
That was refresher. So number 1 was safe operation. Number 2
Okay.
was refresher.
What was number 3?
Number 3 was you have to certify each operator.
Yeah. And see, a lot of companies, they don't do it to the OSHA standards.
No. So they get in trouble.
Yeah, they play a video and they give them out the pre-made test.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Then they go drive a forklift.
Yeah. No good paperwork, no proper evaluation, no proper
We have an
instructor.
He's been driving forklifts for 20 years. He's amazing.
Does he have knowledge, training, and experience to train?
Well, yeah.
Well,
He's been driving
no.
one for 20 years. Number 4 is if at any time a powered industrial truck is found to be in need of a repair, the truck shall be taken out of service until it has been restored to safe operation.
That's always a fun one because OSHA's got you. So they go up to you and say, hey, man, did you do your pre-use inspection?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, of course.
100%.
And then they go, then why is the tire falling off? Must have just happened
It literally
after
fell
I
over.
inspected it.
While
Because they
you were
always
here.
get you. They
Oh, yeah.
always get you.
Why did the tire fall off? Excellent. Okay, then the last one, number 5 is industrial truck shall be examined before being placed into service and shall not be placed in
Pre-use-
service if they are showing
Pre-use
blah, blah,
inspection.
blah.
Got to do it. And now OSHA does not say that you have to document it, but the best
Right.
practice is to document it. That way you can actually prove that you did it.
That you did it. You have that written word backing you up.
All right, so we going to 8?
We're going to 8.
Number 8.
All right, it is fall protection in the construction standard.
Oh, so we're back to a tie. 4 to 4.
Hang on, fall protection. Oh, because it's fall
training.
protection training
Yeah. And
requirements.
so this one popped up, to
Yeah.
my knowledge, the first time this started popping up in the top 10 was last year. Well, in the 2019.
Okay.
It was like a kind of a big deal.
Okay.
And I could be wrong, but I just remember seeing it in 2019, like, oh, something new in the top 10. Remember I was saying
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
intro,
yeah.
like, I'm excited because I want to see
Something's
where
changed.
OSHA's brain is going so we could prepare everybody. And that was a cool one for me, especially as a trainer. Now, I could say 100% legit without scare tactics that OSHA's probably going to check your training on fall protection.
I mean,
Maybe they didn't do that before, but they're doing it now,
It's
and it's
number
proof
one.
again. It's not the top 5, but it's in the top 10. Top 10 most cited standard 2020. If OSHA comes on site, they see your, some harnesses over there on the wall.
oh, dead giveaway.
They're going to say, hey, I want to check your training. Now, what specifically are they going to ask us?
So number 1 was the employer shall provide a training program.
So they want to see the policy when it says who's going to train, how they're going to train, what they're going to train on. They may want to see the curriculum you're going to train with, the program, the training program. Though.
The training program.
Okay, next.
Number 2 is the employer shall verify compliance with paragraph A of this section, which is the training program, by preparing a written certification record.
Yeah, so that's in the regs, and that's one that people think I'm just trying to sell them.
When we're saying, like, you
I'm
gotta be
like,
certified.
yeah, we also do personal fall arrest system certifications. You don't need no certification, wear hard. And by the way, every time AJ and I do a voice of somebody else, it's always something not flattering.
It's the
just
same
noticed
person.
that.
We both always impersonate the same angry person. There's some guy out there that talks like that. Listen to this going, what? I don't sound anything like that.
You don't have to be certified to wear a harness. Well, Mr. AJ, do you?
According to this, you do.
Can you read that one more time, please?
The employer shall verify compliance with paragraph A of this section by preparing a written certification record. The written certification record shall contain the name or other identity of the employee trained, the dates they were trained, and the signature of the person who conducted the training or the signature of the employee. If the employer relies on training conducted by another employer or completed prior to the effective date of the section, the certification shall indicate the date the employer determined the prior training was at.
That's really long, man.
It is long.
But you created a personal fault arrest hands-on evaluation form. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So
Went to town on that.
that gets us compliant with that. When
Right,
we
because
do
it
a personal
has-
fault arrest system certification course. We could show we did like classroom and hands-on.
Yep.
And we have to sign that as the trainers,
And
and it'll
they
have the
sign it.
date and the name and all of that. So
It
when we
does.
do it, it's compliant with that. But
That's because we
most
always prepare.
But most people who are not providing that training, they're just saying, here's a harness, wear
Right.
it. And the ones that are doing it maybe don't have that documentation.
I would say maybe's a very nice word.
Okay, so what else we got going?
Number 3 is the employer shall ensure each employee has been trained as necessary by a competent person.
So they got to be trained, and they got to be trained by somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yep.
Okay, next.
Number 4, inadequacies in an affected employee's knowledge or use of fall protection systems or equipment indicate that the employee has not retrained the requisite understanding or skill. So they probably found somebody on a job site who had
Didn't know
proof
what
of
they were
training,
doing.
but they were definitely like,
Yeah, that's never happened before.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
And then number 5, retraining.
Okay.
When
Does
the
it give
employer-
any
Yeah,
examples?
when they have reason to believe that the affected employee has already been trained, does not have the understanding skill required by paragraph A of the section, the employer shall retrain such employees.
All right, number 9.
Number 9, personal protective and life-saving equipment and eye protection in construction.
Ooh, construction has
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're in the lead.
So the number 1 thing most cited was types of guarding. 1 or more methods of machine guarding shall be provided
In
to protect the
construction
operator.
industry, I could see that. Grinders, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
You know,
one.
those circular saws.
Right?
Yeah.
Those big concrete saws. And sometimes they
Yeah.
got to get those things into weird spots. And so they start popping like actual panels of the equipment off so that
That's crazy.
they can do some terrible things.
What
Number
else?
2, point of operation guarding.
Okay.
Ooh. Number 3, anchoring fixed machinery. Machines designed for a fixed location shall be securely anchored to prevent walking
Which
or
is
moving.
weird to me to be in the construction one.
Right?
Because
That's
I'm
real
thinking
common
like a
with,
bench grinder.
Yep. That's what I went
But
to.
I wonder what they got those people on.
I don't know. I'm
You
not
know
sure.
what machine? Like I've seen pipe threaders on site, right?
Oh,
You know.
hang on a second. I'm reading the wrong section, but I said the right number.
Okay.
Oops. So
Break-
we've been going over number 10, which is machine guarding general industry.
Oh, I got you. All this makes sense now.
Yeah, but number
Okay.
9, I whatever reason skipped over the paragraph.
Okay.
Number 1 was the employer shall ensure each affected employee uses appropriate eye or face protection.
Okay. So eye and face protection for the construction industry
Mm-hmm.
was number 1 out of the 5.
There's actually only 4
Okay.
for this one. That's
All right.
why I skipped it. It didn't look right. So
What's
I thought it
number?
was just-
What's number 2?
The employer shall ensure each affected employee uses eye protection that provides side protectors.
So eye protection's 2 of the PPE.
Yep.
Okay. So and I see that all the time. The guy's got his prescription glasses on, no side protectors, doesn't have a face shield on while grinding.
Exactly. Or
Okay.
they're just wearing regular. Yeah. Number 3, the employer shall ensure each affected employee who wears prescription lenses while engaged in operations.
3
Wow.
for eye and face for PPE.
That can be worn over the prescription lens without disturbing the proper position.
Okay.
And then number 4, there's only one time this was cited in the entire year. Protective eye and face protection devices must comply with consensus standards. So some OSHA guy got really mad, and he was going to cite one violation as many times as he could. And this was another eye and face one, and he found this little bitty standard 1926.102B1. Protective eye and face
I wonder if
protection
that's
devices
saying-
must comply with consensus
I wonder if that's
standards.
an ANSI Z87.1.
I don't know.
And he found someone wearing safety glasses that didn't have the ANSI Z87.1 on there.
Wouldn't that suck if you were the one guy in all of 2020 that hit that citation?
But you're cool.
You're the
a
one
star.
guy.
All right, what's number 10? Last.
Well, I already spoiled it. It's machine guarding.
Okay.
And we read half of them. But
And
number 1 was
What industry was that?
general industry.
Oh man, they're tied.
So it's 5 and 5, huh?
5 and 5.
Okay, well, we can break this.
Which also means though you can't be like, oh, I don't have to worry about OSHA. I'm in general industry. They only pick on construction guys, or vice
Yeah, they're
versa.
getting
It's
everybody.
incorrect. They're getting everybody. All right, so just read them quick. Number 1.
was types
machine
of guarding.
guarding.
Number 2 was point of operation.
Okay.
Number 3 was anchoring your fixed machinery.
Okay.
Number 4 was general requirements for machine guards.
Okay.
So literally just a general
Right.
standard. And then number 5 was exposure of blades.
Okay. Like
So they
I
gotta
could see
have
a
a certain
horizontal bandsaw with the adjustable guard.
Well, it says when the periphery of the blade of a fan is less. Oh, it's a fan is less than 7 feet above the floor of a working level.
Okay.
The fan blade must be guarded.
Yep.
So having fans within 7 feet of the floor.
All right, everybody. We thank you for tuning in to our podcast. We are called the Evil Safety Dudes. And we hope you enjoyed OSHA's top 10 violations of the year 2020. Until next time, everybody, stay safe.